Welcome back to Talk About It in English. Today, we are going to build an emergency survival kit for Monday mornings. It is Monday at 9 a.m. You are at the office coffee machine. A friendly colleague smiles and asks, "How was your weekend? Did you go on that hike?" In your head, you have a whole story about terrible weather, a broken car, and ruining your shoes in the mud. But you do not know the English words for tow truck or mudslide. So you freeze in total panic, and the silence gets painfully awkward.
I used to hate this so much. Because I could not translate my complicated story, I would just stare at my coworker and lie, saying, "It was fine. I stayed home." I felt so boring and stupid, like I had no personality in English.
By the end of this episode, you will learn the 3-step plan, problem, pivot checklist to instantly turn any messy weekend story into natural, confident English without needing a dictionary.
That feeling of freezing at the coffee machine is something every single language learner knows. You are standing there, holding your mug, and your brain is working so hard. You want to connect with your coworker, you want to be funny, you want to share your life. But instead, you just smile, nod, and give a one-word answer. It is exhausting.
It really is. And the most frustrating part is that when you walk back to your desk 5 minutes later, you suddenly think of the perfect English sentences you should have said. But in the moment, when all eyes were on you, your mind went completely blank. Today, we are going to fix that forever. We are going to look at exactly why this happens and then give you a system to bypass the panic.
I remember a specific Monday when someone asked me about my weekend. I had actually gone to a beautiful lake, but on the way back, my car got a flat tire in the middle of nowhere. It took 3 hours for help to arrive. It was a crazy, memorable story. But when my coworker asked me how my weekend was, my brain realized I did not know the word for flat tire or jack or spare wheel. I actually started making hand gestures, pretending to hold a steering wheel, and then made a popping sound with my mouth. My coworker looked terrified. After that, I just started saying my weekends were fine.
That story perfectly illustrates what we call the translation trap. This is the root cause of the Monday morning freeze. When your colleague asks about your weekend, your brain instantly tries to do a one-to-one translation of the complex 10-part story you have in your native language.
Exactly. In my native language, I had a whole movie playing in my head. I wanted to describe the rain, the feeling of the cold metal tools, the waiting on the side of the road. I was trying to be a novelist.
And that is the problem. Fluency is not about knowing every single word in the dictionary, like mudslide or torrential downpour or lugnut. Fluency, especially at the A2 and B1 levels, is about thought organization. You cannot speak clearly if your thoughts are a tangled mess of complex details. The secret to answering the weekend question is not finding more English words. It's simplifying your original thought before you open your mouth.
That is such a huge mindset shift. We think our vocabulary is the problem, but really, our storytelling strategy is the problem. We are trying to build a mansion when we only have the tools to build a nice, comfortable cabin.
Exactly. When native speakers talk at the coffee machine, they are not giving a detailed chronological report of their weekend. They are giving a vibe. They are sharing a short summary. So we need to stop trying to be a camera that captures every detail and instead use a simple filter. This filter is the Plan, Problem, Pivot checklist. It's a 3-sentence framework that works for literally any complicated weekend situation.
I love this because it takes all the pressure off. You don't have to search your memory for 20 different vocabulary words. You just follow the 3 steps. Step 1 is the plan. Step 2 is the problem. Step 3 is the pivot.
Let us break down Step 1. Step 1 is stating your original plan. Instead of explaining the logistics of waking up early, packing the car, and driving for an hour, you're going to boil it all down to your core intention. We use the framework, "I was going to," followed by a simple action.
This phrase is incredibly useful. I was going to. It immediately tells the listener that whatever you are about to say did not actually happen, which builds a little bit of curiosity.
Exactly. Let's practice this. I want you to listen to how I say it and notice how relaxed it sounds. I was going to go hiking. Notice how the words going to blend together in spoken English. It sounds more like gonna. I was gonna go hiking.
Say it out loud with us right now, wherever you are. I was gonna go hiking.
Let's try another one. Imagine you plan to visit your family. Don't translate the details of buying train tickets. Just use the framework. I was going to visit my parents. Repeat that out loud. I was going to visit my parents. Or maybe your plan was just to be productive at home. I was going to clean my apartment. Try saying that one out loud. I was going to clean my apartment. This step is so powerful because it establishes the context instantly. Your coworker now has an image in their head. You wanted to go hiking. You wanted to clean. You do not need to explain why. You just state the intention.
And the best part is that you already know all the vocabulary for this step. The verbs are basic. Go, visit, clean, buy, watch. You are using the A2 vocabulary you already mastered to start a conversation with total confidence.
Now we move to step 2 of the checklist. This is where the magic happens. Step 2 is stating the problem. In your native language, this is where the story gets messy. This is where the car breaks down, the weather turns terrible, or the restaurant loses your reservation.
This is the exact moment where I usually freeze. I hit that wall of missing vocabulary. How do I explain that the pipes in my apartment burst and flooded the bathroom?
You do not. That is the secret. You bypass the complex logistics entirely. If you do not know the word for flooded plumbing, you do not need it. Instead, we use the pivot phrase, but it ended up.
Ended up. That is one of my favorite conversational phrases in English. Native speakers use it constantly. It means that the final result was different from the plan, and it sounds so incredibly natural.
It is a lifesaver. You pair "but it ended up" with a simple adjective or a basic condition. Let us go back to the hiking story. Your plan was ruined by a massive, unexpected storm with thunder and lightning. You do not need those words. You just say, "but it ended up raining all day."
Listen to the intonation there. You want to drop your pitch a little to show disappointment. But it ended up raining all day. Try saying that out loud with me. But it ended up raining all day.
Perfect. Now, let us imagine James's flat tire story. He does not know how to say the car broke down, so he simplifies the result. What was the ultimate result of the flat tire? The trip took too long, or the day was ruined. So he could simply say, "but it ended up being a disaster."
Yes, but it ended up being a disaster. That is so much easier than pantomiming a steering wheel in a car crash. Or if you went to a restaurant and they lost a reservation and the line was out the door. You do not need to explain the hostess stand. You just say, "but it ended up being too crowded."
Let us practice that one out loud. It is a great phrase for city life. But it ended up being too crowded.
Or maybe you planned to visit your parents, but you woke up with a terrible migraine and a fever. Do not worry about translating your medical symptoms. Just say, "but I ended up getting sick." Say that with me, "but I ended up getting sick."
If you are enjoying this feeling of finally knowing exactly what to say without freezing, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We build these practical English frameworks every single week, so you can stop studying and start actually speaking.
Okay, so we have the plan and the problem. We started with, "I was going to go hiking." We added the problem, "but it ended up raining all day." The story is almost complete, but we cannot just stop there. If we stop there, it sounds a little too negative, and it leaves the conversation hanging in the air.
Right. You don't want to just drop a depressing fact on your coworker and stare at them. You need to resolve the story. That brings us to step 3, the pivot. This is where you state the alternative reality. What did you actually do instead?
And again, we keep it incredibly basic. We use the phrase, "so we just," followed by a simple past tense action.
The word "just" is the superhero in this sentence. It acts as a conversational softener. It tells the listener, "Hey, my original plan was ruined, but it's no big deal. I chose to do this simple thing instead." It makes your simple action sound like a casual, deliberate choice, rather than a failure of vocabulary.
It really does change the whole vibe. If you say, "so we stayed home," it sounds a bit sad. But if you say, "so we just stayed home," it sounds cozy and relaxed.
Let us practice linking it to our ruined hike. So we just stayed home and watched movies. Notice the rhythm. Say it out loud. So we just stayed home and watched movies.
What about the crowded restaurant? You could say, "so we just grabbed a pizza instead." Try that one out loud. "So we just grabbed a pizza instead."
Or what about the day you planned to clean the whole apartment, but you ended up being too tired? You can resolve that by saying, "so I just slept all afternoon." Say it with me. "So I just slept all afternoon."
This 3-part checklist is so brilliant because it completely bypasses the vocabulary freeze. You are taking a complex, messy weekend and turning it into a neat 3-sentence package. Plan, problem, pivot.
Let us look at how perfectly these 3 sentences fit together. Imagine you are back at the coffee machine. The coworker asks, "Did you go on that hike?" You smile, take a breath, and deliver your 3 sentences. "I was going to go hiking, but it ended up raining all day. So we just stayed home and watched movies."
It sounds so incredibly fluent. It sounds like native-level English because of the sentence structure, not because of the vocabulary. And the best part is, it naturally invites your coworker to keep the conversation going. They will probably reply, "Oh, that sounds nice actually. What movie did you watch?"
Exactly. You have successfully answered the terrifying weekend question, and now you are having a normal, relaxed conversation about a movie. The panic is completely gone.
Let us do some real-time practice. Listening to us explaining the theory is great, but to really beat the Monday morning freeze, you need muscle memory. You need these phrases to stay in your mouth, not just in your head. So we are going to run a coffee machine simulator.
I love this. I will give you a complicated scenario in your native language. Then James will play the coworker asking the question. You will have a few seconds to organize your thoughts and say the 3-part answer out loud before we give you the solution.
Here is scenario 1, the canceled dinner. You planned to go to a fancy new Italian restaurant in the city. You took the train, but when you got there, the kitchen was closed because of a plumbing emergency. You were hungry, so you walked across the street and ate fast food burgers.
That is the complex story. Do not translate the plumbing emergency. Simplify it. Think of your plan, think of the simple problem, think of the pivot.
Imagine I am walking up to you holding my coffee mug. "Hey, how was your weekend? Did you try that new Italian place?" Answer out loud right now using the 3 steps.
Start with, "I was going to,"
Then add, "but it ended up."
then finish with, "so we just."
Okay, here is the perfect, natural way to answer that. You should have said something like, "I was going to go there, but it ended up being closed, so we just got burgers instead."
Let's do that one more time together for the muscle memory. I was going to go there, but it ended up being closed, so we just got burgers instead. Notice how smooth that is. No panic about plumbing vocabulary.
Scenario 2, the lazy weekend. You told everyone on Friday that you were going to paint your living room and organize all your closets, but Saturday morning you felt exhausted from work. You stayed in your pajamas, ordered food, and played video games for 2 days straight.
You might feel embarrassed to say you did nothing, but you can frame it perfectly. Simplify the thought, plan, problem, pivot.
I am your coworker. I say, "Hey, good morning. Did you get all that painting done?" Say your answer out loud.
Start with, "I was going to,"
But it ended up.
so I just.
Here is how a native speaker would handle that exact situation. I was going to paint, but I ended up feeling really tired, so I just relaxed all weekend.
Let's repeat that to get the rhythm. I was going to paint, but I ended up feeling really tired, so I just relaxed all weekend. It's honest, it's simple, and it completely avoids the trap of explaining how stressed you are.
Let us do one final scenario, the disappointing event. You bought expensive tickets to an outdoor music festival. You drove 2 hours to get there. The lines for the bathroom were an hour long, the sound system kept breaking, and it was freezing cold. You left early and went to a quiet diner for coffee.
This is a classic translation trap. You want to complain about the bathrooms and the sound system. Resist the urge. Simplify. Plan, problem, pivot.
Here comes the coworker. "Hey, how was the music festival? Was it amazing?" Speak your answer out loud now.
Plan,
Problem?
pivot.
All right, let's hear the solution. "I was going to stay all night, but it ended up being really cold and crowded, so we just left early and got coffee."
Let's practice that final resolution together. I was going to stay all night, but it ended up being really cold and crowded, so we just left early and got coffee.
When you practice these scenarios, you realize that every single disappointing, complicated, or failed weekend plan can fit perfectly into this framework. You never have to stand at the coffee machine in silence again.
And you never have to lie and say it was fine just because you are scared of the vocabulary. You have a system now. You organize your thoughts into the plan, the problem, and the pivot, and you take control of the conversation.
Tomorrow morning, when you are taking a shower or getting ready for work, I want you to give yourself a challenge. Force yourself to describe your actual real-life weekend out loud using only this 3-step checklist. Do not allow yourself to use complex words.
Think of your plan, think of the simple problem, think of the pivot. Practice it out loud until it feels like second nature. Then, to learn exactly how to keep the conversation flowing smoothly after you give your answer, watch our next video on how to ask natural follow-up questions in English. Have a great week and keep speaking.